In this video, I'll be talking about subfields of psychology. We'll be continuing the topic of subfields of psychology. Only three are remaining. Now, you might be wondering that why I didn't discuss these three in the last video and just complete the topic there, and I'm making the special video for them. It is because these three topics are a little bit different. They're a little bit larger than the topics we have discussed previously. So that is the reason why I mentioned them in a special video. And these are three topics you might have heard of because these are kind of famous topics like counseling psychology. First is social psychology. We will understand these all topics point wise. The first point is the field of social psychology helps investigating social behavior. So as always, the field of social psychology helps investigating social behavior. Now when you hear the term social psychology, what comes into your mind? Sociologists and psychologists? Yes, sociologists and social psychologists together, they developed this field. Now, the second point, it emphasizes on all aspects of social behavior, such as how we think about and interact with others, how we influence and are influenced by others. For example, social psychology study our perception towards others and how this perception affect our behavior towards them. What they exactly study is that they study social behavior, such as how we think about someone, how we interact with someone, how we influence someone, or how we are influenced by someone. For example, people getting influenced by media or maybe propaganda or anything like that. So how or anything getting influenced by anything, or maybe they are influencing someone, how that happens. For example, social psychology is a study our perception towards others and how this perception affect our behaviors towards them. For example, we all have a kind of perception, or for example you have a perception towards a particular person. Now how that perception of yours affect your behavior towards that particular person you have perception towards. Now, if in simple words, if I were to explain, you have perception towards a particular person and how that perception affects your behavior, how you behave with that person. This field has developed by joint contribution of sociologists and psychologists, as I already told you. The social psychologists who work on applied side of this field have developed and standardized techniques to measure opinion and behavior of an individual in a societal context. Now, the social psychologists, in this field, the social psychologists, they work on applied side of this field, and they develop few techniques which measure opinion and behavior of a person by a society in a societal context. Their survey research ponders upon important topics such as political, consumer, and topics related to important social issues, which provide important information to politicians, business executives, and community leaders who benefit from these while making decisions. Now, what they exactly do is that they do a survey research upon upon important social topics such as political, consumer, and any topic which is important to social issues. For example, they do survey research related to consumers. So they will provide this information to business executives, and then they will use that information to make some changes in their business so that more consumers will come, more customers will come to buy their products. Whereas if they do survey research on political things, they will give this information to a politician, and then he will make changes in his decisions which will benefit that politician. Now, clinical psychology. Now, this is a famous field. You might have heard about clinical psychology. What it reminds you of? It reminds you of something related to scientific, clinical, means hospital. So you're right. The first point is the field emphasizes on diagnosis, causes, and treatment of severe psychological disorders and emotional troubles. So this field focuses on diagnosis, causes, and treatment of severe psychological disorders and emotional troubles. Confusion occur between clinical psychology and psychiatry. Now, many people are confused between clinical psychologists and psychiatrists. Uh, so the similarity between them is that they both offer psychotherapy, but they are different. Many people are confused that they are same, and they are confused between clinical psychologist and psychiatrist. So in the next point, we'll be discussing how they are different. They belong to two different. The third point is they belong to two different groups of and their educational background and ways of diagnosis and treatment differs. Now, what they exactly differ in is that they have different groups and I mean their educational background is different, and the ways of diagnosis and treatment also differs. So they have a different educational background, and the way they treat people is also different. A psychiatrist, after completing medical studies such as MBBS, does MD in psychiatry and specialize the treatment of mental disorders, whereas what clinical psychologist does is that it does masters or MSc, MA or MSc in clinical psychology, or it also gets a doctorate degree such as PhD or a PsyD because of this difference in educational background. Clinical psychologists who do not have medical studies cannot prescribe drugs to treat behavior disorder. Now, the only difference is that clinical psychologists do not have any educational background in medical studies such as MBBS and all. So that is why they cannot prescribe drugs as the doctors who study the MBBS and all. They can prescribe medicine and all, whereas these guys cannot. The clinical psychologists cannot. So what exactly clinical psychologists do is that they research to find out better ways of diagnosing, treating, and preventing psychological disorders. So clinical psychology they research and they find out better ways to diagnose, treat, or prevent psychological disorders. They also rely heavy on standardized tests for identifying the cause of these disorders. They also, they do standardized tests. Through that, they identify what are the causes exactly of the disorders a person has. They use psychotherapy to treat mental disorders as they are trained. So they, as clinical psychologists, they, as I told you, psychiatrists also use this, and clinical psychologists also use psychotherapy to treat mental disorders as they are trained. Now, industrial or organizational psychology. This is also something you might have heard of, or maybe you might have not. This is a different field. Investigates all aspects. The first point is investigates all aspects of behavior in work settings, ranging from selection and recruitment of employees, performance appraisal, work motivation, and leadership. So this is related to kind of industrial setting, work settings, in which there are employees, and how these psychologists can recruit proper employees, and how they can increase their performance, motivate them, and all that, how to increase the efficiency of employees working in the company so that the company can benefit and grow higher. The first application of psychology in industrial and organizational was recruiting employees by using intelligence and aptitude tests. So the first application of psychology which was done to industrial and organizational things was recruiting employees by using intelligence and aptitude tests. So they used intelligence and aptitude tests to recruit employees. That was the first application which was done to industrial or any organizational setting. They organize on the job training programs for improving work environments and training programs for improving work environments and human relation in organization and work settings. These psychologists are also called personal psychologists. Now, this is important to remember that these psychologists in this field, industrial or organizational psychologists, these are also called personnel psychologists. Personnel, not personal. Personnel psychologists. Now, the third point here is they organize on the job training programs for improving work environments. Now, they are also organize job training programs to improve work environments, and they also try to improve human relation in organization and work settings. So they can, it's just something which revolves around increasing efficiency of employees and changing work settings. For that, you can do anything for us, such as changing the work settings so that the employees will perform better, their relation with other employees make them better so that they can interact and do the work quickly, more efficiently through teamwork and all that. So this is a field which revolves around industrial or organizational settings. I guess that is it for this video, and with this video we have completed the whole topic of subfields of psychology. We have discussed each and every subfields of psychology. We have discussed a lot about subfields of psychology. If you want to take a screenshot, you can. I will give you some time. Now, I guess that is it for this video. From the next video, we'll be starting a new topic. Until then, if you want to leave a like, you can leave a like.